Good morning, everybody. It's Liz here again for our micro session, and it is Tuesday at quick time check 6:26 in the morning, and it looks like it's promising to be a very beautiful morning. The sun is rising over the roofs out of this window. I often do most of my reflections on the way home from work. And part of that reflective practice is making connections with my daughters by telephone, and they keep me company on my trip home, and it's rather lovely. Yesterday, and today's session has come from yesterday's conversation that I had with my youngest daughter, where we were talking about how a young lady had gone to Cambridge and made the most amazing life for herself after leaving Cambridge back in Africa. And it was a lovely tale. And during the conversation, we worked out together that actually this had come very much... Oh, morning, Laura. Hi, thank you for joining us. I've just seen you pop up. And yeah, we were talking about it, and part of the conversation we turned around to be that actually everything that she had made her choices based on were never out of our reach either. We could have made similar choices. And that's quite an eye-opener, really, because sometimes I think you say, well, lucky them, we could have, I wish I had. But actually the choices are there, and the wonderful thing for us in today's talk about choices, decisions, and our destiny is that we are humans, and we are blessed with the fact that we can make our own choices, and where we are today in our lives is because of the choices that we've made. Now, that didn't really have an impact on me until I then watched the news last night and the hurricanes and the devastation. And often I'm guilty, and I think a lot of us are very guilty of, we watch things and we listen to things, but we never actually take them in. We never hear the words or what's going on behind. And for some reason yesterday, it did have an impact on me. And there was visions of people standing with their children strapped to them, leaving the Virgin Islands in tears, and their whole belongings, the whole world was in just one carrier bag. They'd lost the whole lot. And you sort of thought, oh my God, that's horrific. And her choice was then to get her family out of the Virgin Islands. And then it moved on, and yes, you saw lots of other places. And then they came across an oldish chap, or a middle-aged chap. I say old, you never recognise your own age, do you? But there was a middle-aged chap there, and he basically said, yes, I've lost everything. My business is flattened, my house is flattened, but I'm alive and I can rebuild. Now, for him, it was about making a different decision. He was staying. He had a bigger belief. He had a bigger belief in himself. He had that vision. He had that forward planning. He could see beyond all of this, and that actually his destiny remained in his town. And I thought then, how strange, you've got poles apart, haven't you? You've got some that actually backs against the wall, and I am not leaving. I am going to make a difference. I am going to push through this. And that got me thinking, and I thought, well, where does that leave us? Do we live today as if this is it for the rest of our lives? It never changes. Therefore, I accept what I've got and what I've been given. Or do we live today as if it's temporary? Live today as if actually it's all preparation for tomorrow. It's all preparation for the next day and the next day and the next day. Do we really drive forward and think, this is a great lesson for us, but I'm going to take it further. I'm going to really drive this until I actually reach where I deserve to be. And I'm going to make every decision based on where I am at this very moment in time. And then it brought me to one of my favourite quotes, which is, if you change the way you think, you change the way you behave. And if you change the way you behave, you have a different outcome. And it's always resonated with me for years. And every time that I think maybe I'm a bit stuck, I look at it and I think again, and I replan and I revisit. So my question for you today, before we wrap up, is, what might that look like for you? So if you change the way you behave today in one area, just test it. What might that look like? What might be the feeling that you'll get from that? What might change? Because it's all practice, it's all playing with life, and it's your life, so have a dabble. And then finally, just to wrap up very quickly, is that when I was listening, and it was a couple of days ago, I was listening to some of the YouTube channels, as I do, and there was one on there, and they were talking about influential people and people who have really made their millions. And it struck me that it matched well with today's discussions, really, that many of them started when their backs were against the wall. Many of them made a decision that this wasn't good enough, and it wasn't good enough for them, and they didn't deserve it. And then it got on to some of those heroes, and I watched one about a wonderful man who rescued most of his company from the Twin Towers. He lost his own life, unfortunately, but it's this incredible courage that these people have. And I know you have it, and I know it's in all of us. So I leave you with that thought today, and just encourage you just to change and just tweak one area of your life and just see if you get a different outcome. And I'll see you tomorrow. Best wishes. Bye-bye.